I came to Thailand for paradise, but also to go to the most popular party in the entire country as a Latina. Welcome back everyone, I'm Val, and today we are in Koh Phangan, one popular island on Thailand where we're going to go to the biggest party in this country. So let's get right to it. So if you ever heard enough information about Thailand and everything, you know it's a place of temple, paradise, beaches, and very nice people. But what about the party life? Many people know that Thailand is also popular due to its nightlife, not only in big cities like Bangkok, but also in islands like Phangan. So if you've been in this channel long enough, you know that I live in Thailand and it's my favorite country. So that obviously means that I want to experience everything that Thailand is, and that includes going to the Full Moon Party. It is Thailand's most infamous beach party with more than 30,000 attendees per month. It has fire dancers, as many of you might already seen, buckets of mystery drinks, and lots of music and dancing. Let me say that my trip didn't start on the right foot since rainy season was late by that time, so when we arrived at Phangan, it was raining as crazy. We couldn't reach our hotel on the first night, so we started on the wrong foot. But still we were able to go to the party and have a blast. So the logistics of the entire party were more than a day to prepare, which it ended up being just for a few hours of fun, but it was definitely worth it. Let me tell you everything about it. So basically the Full Moon Party happens in the island of Koh Phangan in the south of Thailand and neighboring Samui Island. And there are actually two ways of getting to the party. The first one is taking an entire roll or tour from Samui Island, or the second one is staying right in Phangan and going to the party from there. We actually tried to figure out how to do it from Samui, but to be honest, the trip ended up being very difficult and expensive. For you have to take a transportation from wherever your accommodation is in Samui to the port, then taking the boat to Phangan, that the party takes place in Hat Rin Beach, and then taking the boat back and transportation back to your accommodation in Samui. Keep in mind that boats do not leave at night during the party because of the high tide. So if you do this, you most likely will have to wait until 5 or 7 a.m. Some of you might say that sounds like my kind of deal, but I'm not that young anymore. So the other option is to actually stay in Phangan and taking transportation for wherever your accommodation is located to Hat Rin Beach, which is exactly what we decided to do. Keep in mind that transportation in Phangan is even harder than in Samui, so you most likely will have to rent a scooter, but I do not recommend you drive the scooter to the party because do not drunk drive. That's exactly the reason. You most likely will get drunk during the party, so don't drunk drive, especially in those islands where the roads are treacherous. So the other option is to check in with your accommodation to see what types of tours or transportation option do they have to the Full Moon Party. Many of them offer a public sonteo to share with all the people that will go to the party, that believe me, there are many of them, to go there, leave you at Hat Rin Beach, and take you back to your accommodation at different time frames. So for example, our hotel back then, that was a place high in the mountain with beautiful bungalows, had the option of taking us to the party around 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. and bringing us back either midnight or 5 a.m. So you have two options to go to the party and two options to leave the party. You can also take an entire tour from Bangkok with all the transports included that will take you from Bangkok to Suratani, then from Suratani to Phangan, and from wherever you are in Phangan to the Full Moon Party. That is a longer trip, but it's also a third choice. Now, to figure out transportation, you also have to figure out accommodation. So let's talk about that. Near the dates of the party, most likely the accommodations that are either in Hat Rin or close to Hat Rin are going to be crazy expensive. Everything in Thailand is cheap except for that. So most likely your choice will have to be like ours, to stay further away from the party. So our accommodation was located in around a 30 minutes ride from Hat Rin Beach, which might be very far away, but for the sake of saving ourselves in accommodation costs, we did that. There is also another thing you need to keep in mind, and it's the fact that since it's the most popular party in Thailand, it gets crowded really fast. So if you don't book your accommodation in advance, you will see how everything will get fully booked really quickly. We had to book our accommodation 3 months prior to the Full Moon Party, and still we found there were already places that were fully booked. So keep this in mind if you're planning to go to the party. As its name says, the Full Moon Party happens during full moon, which means it has a specific date during every month. If you want to know which date is going to happen during your visit in Thailand, time, you can check their official website that I will leave it down in the description. In there you can find the entire calendar. The Full Moon Party is not the only party they actually organize, because after seeing how popular the Full Moon Party got, they organize other parties like the Half Moon Party and things like that. So if you're not going to the biggest one, you can maybe find yourselves going to the other parties. Now, as I told you at the beginning, we decided to book an accommodation that was a 30 minutes ride from Hat Rin. The only problem is that the date we decided to go to the Full Moon Party was still rainy season in Thailand. Remember that the south of Thailand only has 2 seasons, dry season and rainy season. Unfortunately, rainy season extended for longer by the time we visit. So it was raining men, and when we arrived to the island, it was already late at night. We took a songteo that was supposed to take us up to our accommodation. Like I mentioned you, it was in the middle of the mountain in some bungalows, so it wasn't necessarily an easy road. And before you ask me why didn't you rent a scooter, I cannot drive. Believe me, I'm learning how to, but by then I didn't. So our only option was songteo. When we were about 15 minutes away from our accommodation, or 10 by car, we were suddenly stopped by other cars that told us that the mountain had just collapsed. So due to the rain, a huge gigantic rock had fallen in the middle of the road, and no cars, no motorcycles, nobody could pass. It was still raining like crazy, and since it was very late at night, the helpers were not going to get rid of the rock until the next morning. That was a very crazy way of starting our journey. Fortunately, we did book our accommodation one day prior, like we weren't going to the Full Moon Party the same day we arrived to Phangan. So take this from me, do arrive a day prior, in case crazy things happen to you. So at the end, we decided to stay in the center of Phangan just one night. We booked a small hostel that was miraculously empty, which again was weird because very close to the date of the party, everything gets full very fast, and we had to spend the night there. Did we overpay for that night? Yes, we did, but it was our only choice. So next morning, we finally went up and realized that the island had a tsunami alert the entire weekend.
This just gets better and better.
So yeah, you can imagine me and my sister, we in a small island with a tsunami alert in the middle of a bungalow high up in the mountain, right above a beach. Of course, there were red flags all across the beach. We couldn't get in there, but yeah, you can imagine how terrifying that was. But hey, we do it all for the experience. So after all of that, we finally went to the front desk of our hostel, checked in with the people in there, and paid for the transportation. For us, it was around 2,500 baht for the trip, because again, it was like a 30-35 minutes ride to Hat Rin, and they will take us there and bring us back. So prices are probably going to be very similar depending on how far you are from the beach when you check it with your accommodation. So keep that in mind. After that, we booked the tour, took the tuk-tuk, and arrived to Hat Rin, where the first thing you see when getting to the Full Moon Party are rows and rows of people with fluorescent paint, who will offer to paint your face, arms, back, or whatever body part you wish with the infamous fluorescent paint that you might have seen in many of the Full Moon Party pictures. Of course, my sister and I were thrilled about it, and we decided to paint both our faces and one of our arms. So now we're done, we're ready. We have our painting, we are at Hat Rin, and we're going inside the Full Moon Party. So once in there, you have to pay for an entrance fee that is 200 baht. So at any of the entrance of Hat Rin Beach, you just approach one of the desks, pay the 200 baht, they give you a wristband, and that's it. You're in. Keep in mind that there is no possibility of buying the Full Moon Party ticket in advance unless you book it with a tour agency. So if you read that this tour includes the party ticket fee, then that's the only way to buy it in advance. Otherwise, you have to buy it when you're in the party. And after that, the only thing left was to enjoy. Like I mentioned before, it had been raining like crazy the previous days. So you can imagine how sandy the beach was, like wet sand. But that's fine. They actually tell you not to go with sandals or flip-flops to the Full Moon Party because you never know what you can find on the beach, which is something I will talk about after. But to be honest, if it rains that much, going with sneakers is not recommended. So if you have some flip-flops that have a thick sole and are not easily removed from your feet, I would recommend you take some of those. We saw 90% of the people didn't have shoes at all, which, mind you, it was very dangerous. I'd rather lose my shoes or get my socks really wet than stepping on glass or something something. So you go in and the first thing you see are rows and rows and rows of sort of tents from Thai people selling drinks. So they sell cocktails, they sell the famous Full Moon Party buckets, that is basically a cocktail or a drink in a bucket. So it's huge, it's a lot of alcohol, and it will get you drunk very, very fast. They all have similar prices, so the only difference is the kind of music they are playing. So you will see that many of them have big speakers and are playing music for many tastes. So you just have to choose the vendor that has the music of your taste and then buy the drinks from them. If you're new to my channel, you might not know, but I'm South American, so of course we chose the vendor that was playing reggaeton and South American music. There are also a few bars around Hat Rin that you can go in and also buy drinks if you want sort of a close space during the party. But hey, we're at a beach party. I will enjoy the outdoors. So you've bought your first drink, you're already dancing to the music. The only thing left is enjoying yourself and watching the multiple fire players that you will find around it. Or if you're not drunk enough and if you're daring enough, you can also jump the fire rope. Mind you, I won't recommend doing that, especially if you're drunk. But hey, there was a lot of people that really wanted to give it a shot, even though their amount of alcohol inside their blood was already way too much. But who am I to judge? You can also take pictures in front of the big neon sign that says Full Moon Party and just enjoy yourself. Another safety recommendation, and they also say this in their website, do not try to swim, do not try to get inside the ocean, especially because since it's at night, probably it will be during high tide, and again, most people are drunk, so you most likely will be drunk during the party. Do not try to swim drunk. Like the fire rope, I understand, but swimming, no. So that's the safety recommendation. Always keep an eye on your drink, of course, and your personal belongings. Other than that, just have a blast. I do think it's a party that is worth going to at least once in your life. Now, keep in mind that this party is very popular, especially amongst foreigners. So it is going to be actually very weird to find Thai people partying there. Not saying that it won't happen, but if you're going there to see a bunch of Thai people partying up, let me tell you that you're going to be very disappointed. It's mostly visited by foreigners of all sorts of places. So after all of that and after enjoying ourselves and having a blast, it actually started raining in the middle of the party, but whatever. I also got danced by a Thai person waving fire things around, which was really scary, but also it was a lot of fun. So we decided to leave on the first songteu that took us back to our accommodation. Again, I'm not that young anymore, so that's why I decided to stay shorter than probably an average teenager would stay at a party. But keep in mind that the party is actually until around 6 or 7 a.m. So you can enjoy yourselves until pretty late. And that's basically how we did it, how is the Full Moon Party in general. Loud music, neon lights, fire, and a lot of drinks. If it's your kind of tea, then for sure, go to it. We really enjoyed ourselves, especially because we found a place that was actually playing Latin music, and believe me, that is very rare to find in Asia. My final recommendation, and is maybe the only disagreement many people have about the Full Moon Party, is do not litter. So I know that people go there to enjoy themselves, and probably when you're drunk, you don't have that much of notion of your surroundings, but these buckets are plastic and they give you straws to drink from them, which are also plastic. So the party is all fun and games until the next morning, where you see how much people does not consider the environment, and you see piles of buckets and plastic and straws all scattered across the beach. So if you go, try to have a little bit of awareness of this, and believe me, every single place that sells drinks also has a trash bag, and they want their buckets back. So if you finish a drinking bucket, make sure to return it to any of the vendors. They will receive it for sure, and throw the straws inside the bag. Aside from that, just go and enjoy yourself. So that was all of my story. Let me know in the comments what do you think, and if you have ever wanted to go to the Full Moon Party, or if you have, and how was your experience there. That's all for today's video, so don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like my content, and to subscribe and turn on notifications so YouTube keeps helping us grow. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all on the next trip.